Okay, the meeting is being recorded. All right, how's everybody doing? How you guys making out after the weekend? How's everybody feeling? Great, awesome. I like that, Robert. Great from Yesiah as well. Majid, you don't hear anything. Majid doesn't hear anything. I'm guessing since you're the only one, I'm guessing it must be on your end, Majid. Maybe check your mute button on your computer, see if that's clicked. If not, try and log out and log back in. I guess if you can't hear that, Majid, try logging out and back in again. Okay, so what we're going to do tonight, we're going to talk about. Oh, we got another person joining us. Um, what we're going to talk about tonight is we're going to talk about a practice account. I'm going to show you guys how to get into a Thinkorswim practice account. The reality is that your all your instructors for the Master Trader and Options One and whatever courses you end up taking with us. Okay, Majid's back and Laura's back. Okay, um, so Shantha can't hear either. Is there anybody else that can't hear other than Shantha and Majid? If you guys can all hear, just type yes in for me. I need to know if this is a problem on our end or okay. So Usiah can hear me, Robert can hear me, Paul can hear me, Janet, Graciela. Okay, so Shantha, I can hear but not see anything. That's okay. There's nothing to see right now, Janet. I will be sharing my screen soon. Gladys can hear me as well. Good. Okay. Shantha, not sure why you can't hear. Majid, same thing. Shantha, let me type this in because if you can't hear, Shantha, try logging in and out again. Sorry, logging out and in again. See if that fixes. Is Majid back yet? Let's see if Majid's back. Majid, can you hear me? Sorry, folks, little technical difficulties. We'll try and get this worked out here. Anyway, I'll keep going while these two fellas try and sort out their issues there. So what you're going to find is that all the instructors for all the courses they use Thinkorswim. As I said to you guys on the weekend, it's the best platform out there. I'm going to show you how to open a free 60-day account tonight. It actually may last longer than 60 days. It depends. But I'm going to walk you through opening a free Thinkorswim practice account. Like I said, they'll let you use it free for 60 days. Sometimes they let you use it even longer than that. And basically, all you need is an email address and some information. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And the reason I'm doing that is because the reality is when you get into the courses, when you're doing the on-demand or you're doing the live classes, all your instructors will be using Thinkorswim, and you're going to want to follow along. And it's really one of the best platforms to use to learn to set up your trades. Okay. So that's one of the things we're going to do tonight. I've got a little list of things I want to talk about. Does anybody have any questions at this point that they want to ask? I'm very happy to answer any questions because it can save me a little bit of time as well. So if you have any, just start typing them in, and I'll answer them as we go. Okay. All right. So let me get to my first part here. So I got to share my screen first. Okay. Can everybody see my screen? If you can see my screen, please type in yes or Y or something to let me know. Okay, so I got a few yeses here. Yes, yes, awesome. Okay, I'm going to go through this list kind of quickly here because I did talk to you guys on the weekend about it. If you have any questions, please kind of just let me know what you want to know, and I'll try and help you out there. Looks like I got a bell here. Majid. Okay. Majid, can you hear me at all? If you can hear me, type in yes, please. I'll just see if Majid can get in here. Shantha's in. He's typing, so I'm assuming he can hear me. Yes, you can hear Shantha. Perfect. And Majid, I see, is typing as well. Yes, no, I can. Majid, yes, yes. I think yes, I can is what you want to say. Perfect. Okay, everybody's good. All right. Awesome. Okay, so the different types of accounts, we talked a little bit about this in the weekend. There's everybody's probably not everybody. A lot of folks have RSPs. A lot of people have TSFAs. Those are registered accounts. I won't go through this too much because I did on the weekend. If you have questions about registered accounts, just let me know what you want to know because I want to keep everybody kind of moving forward here. But RSPs and TSFAs, basically, there's some rules about them, and I'll talk about them in a second. Uh, those accounts, when I say RSPs, TSFAs, margins, and liras, basically there's an actively managed version of all those accounts, not the margin one, and then there's a self-directed. Now, self-directing is as easy as opening a self-directed account, and you can do that at any number of different places. We talked about it on the weekend. If you open any account at Interactive Brokers or Thinkorswim, or even Questrade, I believe. If you open any of those accounts, they're all self-directed by default, which means you are taking control of it. Okay. Um, that's essentially what we try to teach people to do is to take control of their own money. Let me say this up front, and I need a yes from everybody. Um, I am not here to give anybody financial advice. There's kind of a little disclaimer here. I'm just here to give you guys a heads up and kind of keep you moving forward on your journey. But I do not and will not give anybody financial advice. I'm not licensed to do that anymore, and therefore I will not do that. So please just type in yes if you understand what I'm saying. Understood. Thank you, Robert. Janet, awesome. Majid, Josiah, Paul, yes. Yes, Laura, Graciela, perfect. Paul, Jim, excellent. And Shantha's typing. Okay, good. Now that we've cleared that up. So whatever accounts you have, it doesn't matter where you are right now. Ultimately, the goal is that you get your account self-directed. That way, you get to take control. We're going to talk about protecting yourself through options, and we're also going to talk about creating cash flow through options as well. Okay. Um, the reality is that's the reason. That's probably the most important reason to take something from actively managed to self-directed is because you have a lot more opportunity to protect yourself from market corrections. Okay. Uh, Unfortunately, with the financial industry, there are certain rules that prevent, both mutual fund managers and hedge fund managers. There's just rules that are put onto those people that don't allow them to work in our best interest at all times. Now, again, it's not always their issue. It's not always their fault. Sometimes we get government intervention, and it is what it is. But the rules of the game are what they are, and we need to learn to play within those rules and make them work for us. Okay. So, like I said, self-direct versus managed. I don't think I need to go through that very much. I think you guys all kind of have a grasp from talking to you guys on the weekend. There, I think you can understand. But basically, managed is typically you're going to be at a bank and you're going to be in a GIC or a mutual fund or a seg fund or something to that effect. That's where you kind of give control to somebody else, and obviously self-directing is just controlling it for yourself. Okay. So Shantha says, I already talked to the company. They said yes, it's possible. They charge around $35 to transfer the fund. Which fund are you talking about, Shantha? And which company are you referring to, if you don't mind me asking? because the experience that I've had, RESP. Okay, yeah, okay, now I remember. Um, yeah, $35 is actually pretty cheap. Um, Typically, like I said, there are some brokers that will charge a fee to transfer, and then there are some, like I said, that just don't. They just don't charge at all. Some what you'll find too is when you go from one broker to another, sometimes the new broker will actually rebate some of the cost to you as well. So just just something to think about as well. Okay. So different brokers, like I said, well, I won't go through this too much because we already talked about this. The two that I teach my students are Interactive Brokers and Thinkorswim, and I went through all the reasons for you guys to, for that. We're gonna go through a Thinkorswim practice account, and then if I don't get this done tonight, we will go through an actual application for an Interactive Brokers account, and I will show you all the nuances of what that is. That's kind of probably the one of the best things I can do for you guys. Now, I'm not recommending Interactive Brokers. What I want you guys to do is I want you to look into it and then make that decision for yourself. I know that it's right for me. I know that it's right for a lot of my students. Again, these are all decisions you guys have to make on your own. I'm just going to give you all the knowledge, and then you guys can make those decisions. Okay. Rules for registered accounts. Basically, I said this on the weekend as well. The reality is, you can only do long calls, long puts. Those are options. Covered calls and stock. They will not typically. Actually, I've yet to meet a broker that will let you short stock in a registered account. Typically, that's only reserved for margin accounts. The reason being, a lot of this stuff is because of the government. At some point in time, somebody traded options and lost their shirt, and then turned around and sued somebody, and basically once those kind of things happen, then the government gets involved and they make rules, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. Again, those are the rules, and that's what we got to play with. Okay. um, there's nothing wrong with that, really. If you learn to trade well, with long calls, puts, covered calls, and stock, you can do very, very well inside a registered account. Believe me, you can outdo the financial industry pretty easily, as long as you're willing to learn that. Okay. Um, the one thing I will say about registered accounts is one of the things that one of the problems, I guess, is without being able to short stock. If you've never traded an option, long puts, you've got to get that knowledge firsthand. Okay, so I know that you guys are all. Actually, let me ask you the question: who here has started the on-demand for Master Trader? Let's see who's on the ball so far. Majid, okay. Anybody else? Robert hasn't yet. Okay. No. Okay. So let me guess. Robert and Shantha, since you guys are the only other two that replied so far, what did you guys start with? Did you guys go right to the gold key files, or have you guys done anything except this webinar? Which is fine. I'm just asking. I just want to know. I want to keep you guys on track, so this is why I ask these questions. Digital told wishers do nothing. Okay. Yeah. And Graciela went right to condors, of course. Yep. Okay. Robert rested the brain. Okay, we're gonna crank her back up for you then, Robert. Okay, so here's, I guess, okay, that's good. Um, Here's what I want you all to do. I got a couple of emails about starting the live Master Trader class. I recommend you do not do that. The reality is you'll be wasting your time. You'll be so overloaded because you haven't seen the material before. And the thing about the live class is that's your opportunity to ask really good questions. And your instructor only has so much time. Um, to help you out. And so we've got to get you through the on-demand material, which is just an older recording of the live master trader. Things have changed since those recordings, so it's good to get the live too. But just go through the first step you guys should be doing. If you put the gold key away, put the condors away, put all that stuff away, and just concentrate on the master trader on demand, that's going to be your best step. Okay, it's like building a house. If you don't put a solid foundation down there, you're going to have problems, down the road. So definitely get that. So yeah, Majid's chapter 4 already. Good job. Um, so Paul, you tried to listen to tackle trading tonight. Can only listen to a recording. That's fine too. Tackle trading's good too. My only concern about tackle is that some of it might be a little too advanced for folks. Robert watched it tonight. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want you to understand that when they do the coaches shows, some of them can be pretty high level, and I don't want you to get overwhelmed. Okay. If you are feeling that way, just kind of get back to basics and get into that. Gladys just got lost. Yeah. Well, see, and that's kind of why I'm saying this because yeah, it always if you've never experienced anything before, if you're trying something new, it's really hard to start in the middle. You know what I mean? It's really. um, so Paul says, why can I not get the live recording? Um, that I'm not sure, Paul. I know they started. I think it was 7 o'clock tonight. They started. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. What you can do, Paul, is next time you log into the tackle trading website, there should be an area where you can contact them. Send an email to team@tackletrading.com, I believe it is. I'll type it in here for you guys. I think it's team@tackletrading.com. So if you have issues, let's say you're not able to see them live, things like that. If you send an email to team@tackletrading.com, the folks over there should be able to help you get sorted out. Okay. Paul, hopefully you can check out and see why they didn't. I'm not sure why you didn't get the live recording because typically if you get the link to it, it's just like this webinar, and it takes you right into it should take you right into the live recording of it. So give it a shot. If it doesn't happen again for you next Tuesday, Paul, I would definitely send him an email or even send him an email tomorrow and just ask him what was going on, what the procedure is. Okay. So Paul Swanson says their analysis of the chart was interesting. Yeah, you know what the beauty of it is, and myself included, when professional traders look at a chart, it's very different than when new folks look at a chart. We see things because we've trained our brain over time, and I think you guys were with, I think it was Tim and Noah tonight that was on the show. Um, I think it was Tim and Noah. It was definitely Tim. I think it was Noah. It was either Noah or Gino. But anyway, yeah, it was Tim Justice. And it was Matt Justice as well? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so Tim and Matt, very, very smart traders. A couple of friends of mine, just great guys, but very, very brilliant traders. And that's what you're getting when you get into the coaches show. You get that experience, coming right at you. So, it's definitely worthwhile. Like I said, it might be a little high level at first, but if you kind of keep at it, you'll start to pick stuff up. Okay. All right. Let's get you guys opened an account. So we're gonna go through opening a practice account for thinkorswim here because I think that'll be good for you guys. And then we'll probably do the IB next week because I don't know if I'll have time to get that done. But opening up a thinkorswim practice account is probably one of the best things you guys can do. So let's do that. Okay. So basically, you just go to thinkorswim.com. How many has anybody opened a thinkorswim account yet? Practice account? Let me just ask that question before I go through all of this. Okay, Majid, you got one, and it's open and running, Majid, is that correct? Okay, good. Knowing now as you go. So Shantha, you have one open as well? Is that correct? Yesaya doesn't have one open yet. Yes, good. Okay. So it's a pretty simple process. You go to thinkorswim.com here, and you'll see up here it says register for paper money. That's what they call their practice account. So if you just click into that, I'm going to get rid of this little box here. Okay. It's going to ask you, do you have an existing TD Ameritrade account? Chances are the answer is no. Because the TD Ameritrade is the American version of things. So if you just click no, you'll be fine. Okay. You're going to want to put in your first name. I'll just pick up a fake name here. Bob Twilliger. Okay. Yeah, I should put that as last name. Twilliger. Okay. Then you put in your email address. You can always make one of those up at Google or use whichever one you want. We'll put in Bob Twilliger at gmail.com. Okay, so you're going to put that same thing in again. All right. You can put it. You can put your phone number in here, whatever it is, doesn't matter. We'll just go 555 123 5559. Okay. So then you can select your country of residence. Obviously, you guys can do that. That's not rocket science here. Not Cameroon, by the way. Canada for all of us. You can put in your physical street address. 123 Bothwell Street. Okay. City, Bothwell. Okay. Now, this is where it gets a little funky. It's going to ask you for a state. You can put in Ontario here, and it should work. If it doesn't work, and I've had this happen before, it just depends. If it doesn't work, then you can put in whatever state you want. The reality is none of this really matters. All you're going to use this for is practice. Okay. Now, this is where it can get a little bit dicey. You can try your postal code and 0N 1GO, and that may work. So we did get a check mark there. Sometimes that won't work. And what I've done before is I've used 48039, which happens to be a Michigan zip code. So if you go through this application and it doesn't work for you, just throw in 5 random numbers because again, this really doesn't matter because this is not going to be your real account if you decide to go with Thinkorswim anyway. So you can just put whatever in there to make the account work. Okay, you can put in however many years of trading, 1 to 5, how many trades do you do per month, 1 to 9, whatever, and then you can put what you're interested in. I would put all of these just because. And it says you have an existing brokerage account. You can leave that as no. Now here's where you're going to want to choose yourself an account name. So I'm going to say btwill 213, right? And then just come up with a password. So it's asking for 8 characters. So click continue. Okay, so now it's going to give you this information. You can edit whatever you need to edit it and then register. I'm not actually going to put it in, but again, you guys can go through this. It's telling you it's pretty simple to fill out. Once you do that, then you're going to have to download the software on here. Okay, and so what you do is once you've got your confirmation, you go back to the excuse me, the home page, if you will, here, and go to trading. This will all be, by the way, this will be all recorded. So if you guys need to go over it again, you can. And then you just click download Thinkorswim, and it's going to ask you to. It'll ask you to put in. See, now it's asking you to put in your username and password. Okay, and then it'll verify that you've opened a paper trading account. Okay. Robert says audio is cutting in and out sometimes. Is it still doing that, Robert? Yes. Okay, give me 1 second. Check, check. Okay, is that any better? Can you guys hear me now? Is it any better than it was? Time will tell. Yeah. Okay. We'll keep going here. It should be all right now. Sometimes I have to reset my internet, so this is what happens when you live out in the country like I do. Okay. All right. So did everybody kind of get the gist of opening a paper trading account? Is there anything you guys missed and you need me to go over again? It's pretty simple. Just put in your information, then download Thinkorswim. And if you have any problems with it, send me an email and I can walk you through it. Or, like I said, you'll have the link for this in a couple of days and you can open it up. Okay. And this is what it's going to look like. For those of you who haven't seen Thinkorswim, this is what your paper trading account is going to look like. We'll probably go through a little bit of this maybe this week or this coming week or maybe the week after, and I'll show you guys a few things on here, maybe how to set up charts, that kind of thing. But the reality is, this is what all your instructors are going to use going forward. So it's good for you to practice. Now, the beauty of it is you'll have 100,000 of fictitious money here, and so everything you learn in Master Trader, you can get into the markets. You can practice with absolutely no risk. Just if you want to try some trades out, we always suggest that you paper trade everything before you go live, and I would reiterate that for all of you guys. It'll save you a lot of heartache in the long run. Okay. Any questions about that? I don't see anybody typing, so all right, let's keep going then. Okay, so Master Trader on Demand we talked about. Thinkorswim practice account we've looked into. Type accounts we went over. Um, one of the things that I wanted to say, got it? Okay, good. One of the things I wanted to say about brokers, okay? Back to this long calls, long puts, covered calls. So when you start to do options or you get to the point where you're doing options in your registered account, if you try to do this at a bank, and again, uh, I'm not saying that one is better than the others. Also choose Ameritrade, not TD. Yeah, for your paper trading account, just choose a Ameritrade. See if it works. If it doesn't work, then you may have to go try TD. But because it's a paper trading account from the Ameritrade website, it should be Ameritrade. Now, if you actually have a live TD account, then you'll have to download a different version of Thinkorswim. You'll actually have to go on the TD website to do that. So just so you know, that's only if you have a live, a live web broker account that you've turned into a TD account. Then you'll have to download the other version of it. But this one should just be Ameritrade. Okay. So what I was going to say is, if you are with one of the banks, if you have a brokerage at the bank, I know iTrade is like this, RBC is like this. What happens is when the market gets high, let me show you guys by a chart here. Let's look at the S&P 500. And I'll make this really big. I'll go 3 years weekly. So that. I know I have a lot of lines up here. I'm going to get rid of a few of them so I can make a point here. Okay, so this is a 3-year weekly chart. I'm actually gonna bring this out even further so you guys can see this. 20 years weekly chart. Okay, can everybody see this chart? I'm gonna get rid of this box. You guys can just type in and let me know. You can see this is the S&P 500 for the last 20 years. Okay, got lots of yeses. Okay, so what happens here typically? So this was 2000, the year 2000 here. You can see that we came up and we crashed. Everybody probably knows about that one. Then this was 2008 here. It crashed again. Now we've had a pretty unprecedented run up here. Okay. One of the things about having your brokerage at the bank, and again, I'm not slagging the bank, I'm just telling you like it is. What happens is, let's say we looked at this and looking at this chart, gotta get rid of these text notes. Let's say we looked at this chart and we saw that this came down to a certain level, somewhere right about here. Okay, so this is your first lesson on support and resistance. So this chart has run up really big. It's then pushed down. It went up again and pushed down, and now it's kind of moving around, right? But you can tell that this is what we call support here. This line right here at about 25.30. This is what we call support, okay? So now in a bank account, so in a brokerage account through a bank, typically I trade RBC. I don't know about CIBC because I haven't used it, but a lot of the banks, when you have a registered account, the one thing that they won't let you do is they won't let you put in an order to throw on a protective put, which is a long put, um, when when it hits a certain price. Okay, so if I were looking at this chart and I was worried about it going down, and I understand not all of you know what put options are yet, but you will soon enough, and this will make a lot of sense to you. But with a regular discount brokerage, I believe Questrade does this. I believe definitely No Interactive Brokers does this. A lot of the discount brokerages, they will allow you to put in an order. Let's say it's say 25.30 here, where if it broke this level and it started to fall, you could put in an order that would automatically buy you insurance, which is what a long put is. And I know you guys will learn this later. I just wanted to tell you now because it's the difference between brokerages and banks. But they'll let you put in an order here that as soon as it falls below this level, you can actually buy insurance for your equities. Okay, and the reason that's important is obvious, right? What happens is a long put contract, and I won't go too much into that because you guys will be learning that soon enough. But a put contract gains value as the price falls. Okay, and so basically, when we buy a long put, which we can do in registered accounts, if this thing starts to fall, if it drops down to the 2400 level, even though your stock value is dropping, your put option goes up in value. So basically, you protect yourself. I want you to think of it like car insurance. Okay, so let's say you bought a new car and you went out and you got in an accident and it was a write off. They just go buy you a new car. Basically, this is the same thing. Is you have the right when you buy a put option to put your stock at somebody at whatever level this is. Do you guys remember the Mark Cuban example over the weekend? Does everybody remember the Mark Cuban example where he took Yahoo stock instead of the money and he bought put options? That's exactly what he did. Was he bought insurance because he had an inkling that Yahoo might not always be the darling of Wall Street that it was. So this is exactly what I'm saying. When you start thinking about banks, right? They may or may not, like I said, a lot of them don't, but they may not let you put an order in here that will automatically buy you some insurance. Now that might not seem like a big deal, but if you're not watching the markets, which a lot of folks don't have all the time in the world to do so, putting in those orders to protect yourself is a big deal, right? You can go in the market and you can make a bunch of money, but if you don't know how to protect it, it's really not any good to you. Does everybody agree with that? Right on. Okay. So I just wanted to say that about the difference between the brokerages and the banks. Okay. Um, I think we covered that. Any questions about kind of what we've went over? Do you guys have any questions at all? I know a few of you haven't got started yet, so I know the questions will be coming later. But is there anything that you guys need to know about what to do next? Okay, Majid, yes, yes. Okay, you were talking about what not to do when setting up IB. Okay, yeah, that's what we're going into next. I'm just concerned that we don't have enough time to go through the application today. Um, Basically, what I'm going to talk, I guess we'll get started. I might have to do it again next week in next week's webinar because I only have this room until 9:15. So, but let's get through it. So, I'm going to pull up an application for IB. Um, we'll just start with it today, just because, um, unless you guys have other questions you want to ask. So basically, the problem with opening an IB account, and it's actually not just an IB account. It's any account where you have to put in information. Okay, let's open an account here. So if you open an account, uh, basically you can open an individual investor or trader account, family account, small business, all that stuff. We're just going to concentrate on the individual accounts for now. Okay. So basically, individual joint retirement accounts. So this is all your RSPs, all that stuff. This is your margin accounts, right? You can see down here, traders and investors, individual. That's just going to be your margin account. Hold on a second. Allow David in. So your IRA accounts again. This will be all your RSP accounts as well. This says this is U.S. information, but it will put you into the RSP portions as well. So trust accounts again, you probably won't need those, but you might. Joint accounts if you are opening one with someone else. Okay. Now, a couple of things that it says here. Account information. Um, it's professional active traders, and therefore they require the following from customers. And this is actually what I was talking about. Uh, what is the relationship between tackle trading and legacy? Okay, Majid. So tackle trading, the fellas that open tackle trading also work for Legacy as mentors and speakers. Okay, so they teach for Legacy, but they also run the website of Tackle Trading. So there's a symbiotic relationship between the two of them. So you'll see if you ever go to events in the States, you would see Tim and Matt Justice doing what Sam was doing on the weekend. You again, like I said, it's just an extra resource basically that Tim and Matt Justice and Noah Davidson and Gino Poor basically came up with. So that's basically the relationship between the two. Okay. All right. So Majid says, if we want to open an account under business, is it still possible with Interactive? Yes, you can open a business account with Interactive. The issues that you'll find there, just again, I'm glad you asked. The issues that you find if you open a trading account with Interactive under a corporation or a business, they will automatically deem you a professional trader, and if they deem you a professional trader, you end up having to pay for data through them, and the prices are pretty high. So just know that if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna open a business, open a trading account through a business, just know that they're gonna force you to pay some pretty high fees for market data. Okay, so the only time you'd probably want to do that is when you're making some serious money, when you're actively trading. When you guys are just starting to learn, that's probably not the best idea. That might be something you want to do down the road once you've actually got your trading underway. But again, the cost can be prohibitive. So as a non-professional, you can get market data for probably as low as 10 to 20 bucks a month, or even as high as maybe 90 to $100 a month. But if you are a professional, that price tag can be $200 to $300 a month just for data. Okay. So Robert says no need to start a corporation now to set up our trades in. No, what I would say to you is learn before you earn, Robert. And the reason being is you can always do that step later, but right now the costs just get too prohibitive. If you're starting a corporation, it's going to cost you, X number of dollars to open that up. It's then going to cost you a bunch of money because, like I said, even if you're not a professional, they force you to be a professional, and so they charge you extra for the data. Okay, and it's not just Interactive Brokers that does that. It's the exchanges as well. Like it'll be the Chicago Board of Exchange, or it'll be the option houses, or those guys that start charging more. They charge the professionals more for the real time data. Okay. So it's probably not, it's definitely not your number one concern. Your number one concern at this point is to learn Master Trader, learn the options, whatever courses you took. Get that under your belt, and then all of this other stuff can be done later. Okay, because you're going to want to practice first, and you can practice for where it costs you a lot less money. Okay. All right. So, like I said, account information here. It says good or extensive product knowledge for any products you wish to trade. So this is one of the things that I'm going to talk about. If you don't answer the questions properly for these guys, they're going to restrict you in what you do. Okay. Now, the reason I'm going to actually go through the questions, you guys will see them, but the questions are geared towards people who are pretty new. Okay, for you guys, once you get through Master Trader and once you get through, say, Options 1 or whatever, you are going to have a lot more experience than the average Joe. Okay, so they have to make these applications for everybody, not just people that have taken, the education that you guys are taking. Okay, so just remember that when we get to the questions, you'll understand more what I mean at that point. Okay. So it says you must have at least executed at least 100 trades for any product type or 100 simulated trades in a real-time demo. So again, this is moreover. Once you start taking the education that we give you, you're going to have the experience of doing these trades over and over and over. So when you go to open these accounts, that's experience that you have that somebody else wouldn't have. Okay. It says a minimum equity deposit in cash or stock of 10,000 US or US 5,000 for our IRA accounts. The reality is you can open an account for less than that. I've had students that have opened an account for $1,000. Basically, what you tell them is, you know what, I've only got 1,000 now, but I expect some more coming later, and they'll let you open an account. Let's put it this way: I've yet to hear of anybody turned away from an account because they didn't have enough money. Okay, so just a heads up there. So I know what they say here on their website, but I also know what the actual practice is, and so don't let this scare you away. Okay. So you must be 21 years or older to open a margin account, 18 or older to open a cash account. If you're opening one for your kids, that's when you're going to do it through a trust account. And there's more to that, but that's when you can talk to an accountant or someone like that can help you figure out the best way to do the trust thing if that's what you're doing. Okay. It says a UGMA is a custodian of a minor, but that's a U.S. thing. Okay. All right. So having said that, we'll start an application here. And there's going to be a bunch of information that we're going to put in, and then we'll get to the actual questions. Okay. All right. So it's going to ask you for your username and password, which mine's already in there, and it won't let me use that one. So we'll just open this one. So I'm not going to complete this account, but I'm just going to put this in anyway, so that it lets us go through it. Okay. Doesn't like that. Let's try that one. All right. Now it says residential country. This is where it's going to change from the American one to Canadian. Okay. So now it's going to say Canadian. Is your country of legal residence different than the country above? No, it's not. So we hit continue. All right, email address. Whatever. Sorry, I have bad connection. Did not get the last 10 minutes. Okay, that's okay, Usaya. This is going to be recorded for you, so you can go back and just watch the replay. Okay, I'll send you a link. I'll send a link to everybody here, and then you can go over what was on there. Okay. All right. So you just got to put in an email address, and then you can continue. Oh, yeah, I just forgot that was going to happen. Okay. So you actually have to use an actual email address here. See, I just made one up there, and of course it sent a verification email. So I got to kind of start over here. So don't do that, by the way. I was hoping I could get away without doing that, but it won't let me. So, all right, we'll try this again. So we'll use that one. Do an email address, an actual email address here. That way we can get a thing. All right, so it's going to send me an email for a verification email, so hopefully it'll pop up quick enough that we can get into it. This is why it takes a little bit to do these applications. All right, so it hasn't populated yet. Yeah, so this is why it's a bit of a pain to do this. Okay. All right, so not coming up here. So what we'll do is we'll continue on with the questions, and then we'll have to finish this one off next week. Okay. Um, Basically, I've wrote down a bunch of the questions here, and I'll kind of go through it. So the questions that they're going to ask you is they're going to ask you about your net worth. Okay. So your net worth is, you guys could probably figure out what your net worth is. The reality is if your net worth isn't over six figures, they're going to limit your trading. Okay. Um, that's just their rules. I don't know why that is. The reality is you want to be truthful on these things, but you also have to understand that depending on what you put in, they are going to limit you to certain things. Okay. The net worth is what the net worth is. Nothing you can do about it. Um, but the trading experience is the big ones. Okay. If you don't have 3 years of trading experience in each strategy, they're not going to let you trade it. Okay. What they're going to do is they're going to limit you, and then going forward, you're going to have to write a not write a test, but do like a verbal test to get them to up your trading level. And the reality is that's a bit of a pain in the butt. So when they say trading experience 1 to 3 years, it's of my opinion and just my opinion that once you have some education under your belt, that you have more experience than someone who's just traded on their own for 3 years. Does that make sense to everybody? Because basically what we're doing when we teach you, we're condensing a lot of experience that a lot of people don't ever get. Okay, um, you know, you could trade 10 years and not get the kind of experience that you're going to get from doing the master trader. And not only are you doing it once, you're doing the on demand, but you're going to do it a second time. So that's knowledge that you're going to use. You're going to be able to practice, right? You're going to go through the examples in the live master trader. Plus you'll be practicing on your own in your own account, practicing in that Thinkorswim account, hopefully. And so all I'm saying is that your experience is there's different types of experience, and so the way we have to fill these things out to get certain results is what I'm going to show you guys. Okay. Again, the trading requirements that they put down here. Let me get rid of this box. Um, Again, it says you must have executed at least 100 trades for any product types or 100 simulated trades in a real-time demo. Well, if you've done 100 simulated trades, even if it's not in their real-time demo, if it's in any real-time demo, which would be your Thinkorswim, then as far as I'm concerned, you would qualify for that. Okay. To trade any product, you must have a good or extensive knowledge level for that product. Well, again, my submission is that if you take the master trader in the options one and you want to trade stock or options, I would say that that would place you in the category of good. You would have a good knowledge on it. It might not be extensive, but you would definitely have a good knowledge of it. Okay. To trade Forex futures or cash Forex, you must have a minimum 2 years trading experience with that product. Again, if you're going to trade, options or futures or Forex, then you know what? You should have some experience with that. The options, if you take the options one course, it is of my opinion that you would have a good knowledge of trading options. If you haven't traded futures or Forex before, then I would act accordingly on that. Okay. Um, we do have futures courses, and obviously we have Forex courses. Some of you will take them, some of you won't. But again, if you took those courses, I would again say that your knowledge would be in the good category. Again, just my opinion. You have to do what you have to do, but this is I'm just kind of giving you the heads up there. Okay. So it says your net worth cannot be less than your liquid net worth. So when you're filling that out, right, I'm not sure how your net worth could possibly be less than your liquid net worth, if you own a home or something like that, because that's all included in your net worth. So anyway, if you have $50,000 in stock or mutual funds, that would be liquid net worth. Well, that your net worth would have to be more than that, obviously, because you would own something other than that. Okay, does everybody kind of get where I'm going with that? Everybody understand what I'm saying? I don't think it's possible that your net worth, if you properly figure it out, your net worth probably can't be less than your liquid net worth. Okay. Um, to qualify for portfolio margin account, your net worth and liquid net worth must be greater than 100,000 USD. Okay, so portfolio margin account. There are different types of margin accounts. There's a Reg T margin account and there's a portfolio margin account. Okay, a portfolio margin account gives you a better margin rate. A Reg T margin account will give you 2-to-1 overnight margin and 4-to-1 during the day margin. Okay, so that means if you put up $100 during the day, you could actually trade $400 worth of stock with a Reg T margin account. Okay, and this is typically what it's called, Reg T. Okay, margin account. That's if you just sign up for a regular account, that's what it is. Okay, regular trading margin account. Okay. The portfolio margin, you'll only get that if you have enough experience and enough money in there. And the portfolio margin account depends on the broker, but I want to say maybe it's like 8-to-1 or maybe even 10-to-1, 20-to-1, something like that. The portfolio margin is quite a bit more than the Reg T margin. You guys will not qualify for that for a while. Like I said, you have to have a fair bit of money and you have to have a really extensive knowledge to get that. And typically they will ask you questions to get you to qualify for that. Okay. All right. Let's see if we got that email up yet. You'll get us there. I'll get you there as quick as we can, Robert. How's that? It's the reality is you just gotta trade. You gotta get some experience behind you. You gotta take the courses. All right, so yeah, so this isn't coming up. So what we'll have to do, we're getting to 10 after 9 here. So we'll do this application next week. I will get that verification email. I'm gonna resend it right now. I will get that verification email, and we will actually go through the whole application next week so that you guys can see how I answer the questions. Okay. Um, Basically, you know, these requirements are what we're looking at. And again, this is just to save you some aggravation down the road. Okay. You're halfway through it now. Good. Perfect. Also on some thumbs up. So again, I just want to make this easier for you guys than it was for me. I had to battle through a lot of this stuff, which is fine. Like once you get through the courses, you'll be able to pass any tests that they give you. But my theory's always been, why bother having to do that if you don't have to, right? So okay. All right, so it's 9:11. We've got about 4 more minutes here before we get kicked out of this room. Does anybody have any questions about what we went over, or any questions about anything? Okay. Is iVest a brokerage? Do we need that? So iVest is a software that can link up to your brokerage. That's up to you. If you like iVest as a software, you can use that. Um, it's a great product, but again, um, so Robert says, should I not continue setting up my IAB account? No, you know what, Robert? I think it'd probably be best to stop wherever you are right now, and then just wait until I go through it next week, and that way we make sure it's set up the proper way for you. Okay. Um, so what is the next step? What is the plan for this week? So again, for you, Majid, I know you're already well on your way here. Get through the Master Trader on demand as soon as you can. I would keep plugging away at that. If you're ahead like you are, you can start looking at some of the stuff on the gold key there. If you're really far ahead, you could start exploring the tackle trading website. There's going to be some amazing information on there. I write the rookie blog on there, so that might be something you want to look into. There's some nuggets of wisdom in there. Um, what else is there for you? I really want you just to concentrate. I want everybody to concentrate on Master Trader on Demand. And what I want you to do is I want you to be writing down your questions. Okay, send them to me in an email if you get stuck, or even bring them to the webinar next week. Just if you guys, the quicker you can get through that on demand, I believe there's a live Master Trader starting June 14th will be the next one, I believe. So if you guys can get through the on demand before then you could get into the live one then, and that's where you're really going to start to accelerate. Okay. All right. Any other questions before we go and call it a night? Did everybody everybody got the gold key, right? Everybody that got a gold key was supposed to get it. So Janet says the login for the on demand. The login for the on demand has to come from the office, Janet. You should have had, they should have had you set up for your My Elite portal, and then in your portal you should be able to see Master Trader on demand. Okay. If you didn't, if you haven't got that, send Eric an email. He's our office guy. If you send him an email, then he'll be able to set you up for that. If you don't have his email, send me an email, and then I will get him to respond to you. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So Shanta says on demand. I didn't get any email. Okay. Um, Eric should have you guys set up by now. Janet has it. Okay. If you go into My Elite portal, Shanta, it should be in there for your on-demand Master Trader on demand. Okay. Did you get set up, Shanta, on the My Elite portal? That's the legacy website. If you got set up on that, you should be able to find it in there. Okay. So when you go onto My Elite portal and you log in, it should be in there. If you can't find it in there, then send Eric an email and he should be able to explain it to you. Okay. Awesome. Okay, folks, we got to hop out of this room here. It's going to be used again in 15 minutes. So thank you so much for coming out tonight, and we will see you next week. Um, I will let you know if this is going to be the same time next week or if we're going to change it to a different day. It depends on my schedule. For right now, it'll probably be at the same time. Okay. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys all coming out, and I'm very happy to be part of your journey. And hey, get that Master Trader on Demand done. The sooner you guys do, the happier you guys will be, and then we can start doing some fun things here. Okay. All right. Everybody have a great night, and we will talk to you next week.